Could you give us your name and where you're from?
Sure, Jim Eldridge. I'm from Oklahoma City.
Okay, Jim, how long have you been in economic development?
A little over 10 years.
Really? Okay, so you're one of the folks who've been here a while. I see you have the CEdC certification. When did you get that?
I got that in 2020.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that something that you would recommend to folks in the industry to get?
I think for the right person, it's a great certification, and it's a great way to show that you've been committed and learned everything you know in the field. What I love about economic development is there are so many different ways to practice it, that there are all kinds of different ways to come into it, and it's not always necessary to have the CEcD certification, but I really like that it sets you apart as someone who's a practitioner of this, someone that really has the experience, knows what they're doing. So again, I recommend it, but I recommend it for someone that's on a track where it's really going to be useful to them.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Nothing's for everyone. It makes total sense. And so, being in economic development for 10 years, how have you seen the landscape change?
So actually, we were just asking this question of our accredited economic development organizations today, and I think the organizations that are really successful are the ones that are learning how to adapt. And where we see a lot of organizations pivoting and working harder than ever before is to not just stick with one strategy for business growth, but to really embrace how do we build communities, how do we build ecosystems, how do we address things like talent and housing and placemaking as part of a holistic economic development strategy. So it's balancing, we still are here to create strong economies, strong tax bases, strong economic growth, but in order to do that, we really have to find ways to invest in our communities, to get political support, to build things that need to be there and have that capacity for growth. So I think that's where, I think as an industry, there's been, or that was maybe a fringe idea, even to talk about something like entrepreneurship or ecosystem growth. That's now really part of the mainstream of what we do day to day, and I think really acknowledged as a core part of what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think you're spot on. And I think I know the answer to this one, but industrial retail, what's your focus?
So I don't address retail day to day, but certainly help with our communities that need help with small business development or Main Street or something like that. But I prefer to look at it more, instead of just industrial growth or smokestack chasing, as technology. And I'm really considering manufacturing and export industries really as a tech industry now.
And last question, if you could give one piece of advice to others in the field, whether they be new or been in there a while, what would that be?
Oh man, this is a hard one. I would say find the things that no one likes to do or no one's doing and become an expert in that space. One of the things I realized when I was working in a small community in rural southeastern Oklahoma was we had a huge need to really understand the water tech industry. And so I immersed myself in all things water technology, which paid dividends to really understand how does that industry work, how do startups work there, how does technology get developed, and how do I become an expert in this little corner that no one really seemed to own. I went to a trade show where there were no economic developers, and it was all engineers, and I had to quickly learn how to not embarrass myself in front of engineers. So I had to learn enough information to become a little dangerous, but I would say find that one niche or find that one thing that no one likes to do and just own it. I think especially for housing, become the world's housing expert or find that area where you can really add value.
Yeah, absolutely. Jim, thanks so much.
Yeah.
Pleasure to see you.
Nice to
Enjoy
meet
the
you.
conference and have a good one.